Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. We've got patch 51.06, which is now out. It adds some fixes and tweaks to both Fortress mode and Adventure mode, as well as some general updates. But there's also a sneaky thing going on. Do you remember this?
Hi, I'm Putnam, a programmer who's been brought on to help program Dwarf Fortress. Over the last couple months, I've been working on a new modding system for the game, made to accommodate future magical endeavors.
The rewrite of the raws into Lua for some of the game's features are now in the experimental branch. I've heard it's quite crashy, but it's there, which means modding is going to get interesting very soon. Let's dive in. We begin with Fortress mode, and this update includes a few nifty little things. Sometimes, strange mood dwarves would wander around and loop around in circles instead of selecting a workshop. That no longer happens. Personally, I didn't encounter this, but I did see the process of it getting reported, so I'm glad that it got fixed. They fixed an issue which I ran into a bunch of times, which would stop people from claiming and using inactive bedroom zones, as well as stopped the dead from claiming inactive tomb zones, which is lovely. Meaning you can now more consistently get your dwarves memorialized when they should be. They also decreased the value of food. Again, this is not the first time this has happened. It's been a long time since I was able to buy out an entire dwarven wagon with simply 2 meals, but they were still too expensive and too valuable. They've been nerfed again. Although, that being said, the values are still not nothing. However, they're significantly lower than they were. Probably for the best. It makes people actually interact with the trading system more. Apparently custom announcement settings weren't loading properly. I wonder if this is on a fort-by-fort basis, because I use custom announcement settings and never ran into issues that I noticed anyway. But, glad that that's been fixed. The patch also included a couple of tweaks and fixes, as well as some new settings options. And also at the bottom here, there's a note about seed caps. Dwarf Fortress does have some odd limitations, which are there to simply keep the game from breaking. One of these devices is the deletion of seeds, and they've changed it now so that if seeds do have to be deleted due to you hitting the cap, they won't delete the ones that you've already planted, which is lovely. For Adventure mode, you can now actually get back to the main menu from within the character creation screen, which is lovely. I was actually quite annoyed with the fact that you quite literally had to Alt F4 the game or go all the way through character creation to then get back to the main menu. So character creation is slowly getting polished up there. They fixed an issue with adventure race selection lists not being unpopulated on exit, and they also fixed a few site loading issues which would cause crashes. They also made it easier to see what you've clicked on and selected in classic mode when ASCII is enabled. For general updates, there's a crash safeguard for syndromes now, which means, again, less crashes. And they updated some metal elasticities. Now, this is one that I would need to dive into the wiki for. I don't know what was wrong, but that likely means that some variables were off slightly. Probably nothing major, but I would love to hear from any wiki divers in the comments section on what this particular note here is about. And they also fixed a bunch of graphics for tigers, whales, and reef-tip sharks. I think they weren't centered. At least that was the case in the past for previous sprite fixes. Now, I teased it at the beginning, but the Lua update is here. So I will read KitFox's note and then elaborate a little bit. We have the new Lua upgrades from the programmer Putnam on the experimental branch for you to try out. The old modding format still works, but now formally hard-coded features like Forgotten Beasts and Vampiric Curses will make their way out into moddable text files. Not only will you be able to create more powerful mods, but this is also a necessary update for the future Myth and Magic system. So as stated here, it is specifically on the experimental branch. Not much in the way of mods has come out of this so far. Of course, you're going to have to give the modders time. But I have heard that there's been some stability issues for playing on the unstable branch right now. So it's best to wait for them to patch it once or twice before diving in if you just want to play casually. As for the possibilities here, currently they are quite limited. As they've stated in this post, currently Forgotten Beasts and Vampires are the only new additions to things that can be moddable. But having read a few things that Tarn and Putnam have posted over the past few months, the long-term goal for this is to also add in both instruments and just about everything else in the game, to some extent. Meaning, while you'll still be able to use the old modding format, the game is going to become a lot more moddable in the mid to near future, which is very exciting in my opinion. The one that currently has me very, very keen is the concept of a moddable UI for Dwarf Fortress. For those of you who don't know, Dwarf Fortress has never had moddable UI. The only current option for community quality of life fixes or any additions to the UI is with overlays, provided via DF hack, or simply changing the sprite to show a different icon. However, for the more casual audience, things like DF hack might be a bit much. Asking somebody to download an additional piece of software in order to play a game in a way that they feel comfortable with is definitely going to push away portions of the audience, but being able to simply download a quick mod is a much smaller barrier to entry for many people. Currently, the concept of moddable Forgotten Beast is already very exciting for me, and might actually make me start diving into mods again. It's been a very long time, after all. But at the very moment, I think I'm going to wait until stability improves before testing anything out. I also want to give the modders some time to mess around and figure out what the limitations are. So if you're a aspiring modder, or somebody who knows their way around a Lua file, it might be time to go check out the experimental branch for Dwarf Fortress. Do keep in mind, it is not on the beta branch, just the experimental branch. If you are a modder, and you're in the comments section, I'd love to know your thoughts on Lua so far. What do you think is possible here? And since we've been talking about patch notes this entire video, I would like to highlight a patch note from a different game, just because I think it's amusing. This is version 42.1 for the video game Goblin Camp. I'll leave a link to that in the description of the video as well. Goblins now realize they are dead if they die at just the right time, as their military job ends. They will now fall over and start decomposing instead of standing around forever. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next one.